Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I am Adebola Adeduba. The headlines. Nigeria's presidency denies budget padding allegations. Nigerian government identifies schools at risk in 14 states and FCT. Burundi's main opposition party divided as faction expels leaders. Details in a moment. Let's begin in the west of the continent, where Nigeria's presidency has vehemently refuted allegations of budget padding for the 2024 fiscal year, dismissing claims made by Senator Abdul Nengi as unfounded. Nengi, representing the Northern Senators Forum, accused the executive led by President Bola Tinubu of implementing a budget that exceeded the approved amount by an additional 3 trillion naira. However, the presidency, through a statement issued by the president's special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Nonuga, countered Negi's claims. The statement clarified that the Nigerian leader initially presented a budget of 27.5 trillion naira to the National Assembly on November 29, 2023. The presidency asked that the budget signed into law by the presidency on January 1, 2024, amounted to 28.7 trillion naira. And to unpack these, I'm joined live in the studio by a public affairs analyst, Dotun Ojon. Good morning. Glad to have you join me.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
All right. I'll kick off with your thoughts on budget allegations from Senator Abdul Nengi of Bauchi State.
Yes, I think the first thing is for us to be clear on the importance of budget. I call budget of any nation as the destiny direction of that nation. And you cannot continue to toil with budget and expect a glorious future for your citizens. And like I said, our destiny is not in a destination, it's in our daily decision. So if we want to take our future very seriously, anything that has to do with budget must actually be tackled with utmost sincerity and seriousness. Having said that, this is not the first time that we'll be having issues of budget padding here and there. But I think this is the first time that we'll be having the allegation going towards the side of the presidency. What we've always had is a member, maybe of House of Reps or a senator, accusing the leadership of the Senate to be padding budget for their own benefit. But for the first time, we are having a senator coming out to say, oh, this particular padding will not only benefit the legislature, that is to the benefit of the presidency. And this is extremely very strange. That is why beyond issuing a statement as to what will be done, I think the federal government must come and the executive must come out with utmost sincerity to explain what has happened. 3 trillion naira as we speak now, considering the current economic reality in Nigeria, is not something that we should toy with. And more so that this padding that is being discussed, the senator said it came under nothing. If that is anything to go by, it means that there was allocation of a particular amount of money for nothing. It means that 3 trillion naira entered the budget for nothing. So we must know as a citizen or as a country that our destiny direction is the budget that we are to execute, and any allegation about it must be taken with utmost seriously.
Talking about the executive, Mr. Ojon, the presidency has refuted these allegations, saying it simply exercised its appropriation powers by increasing it to 1.2 trillion naira. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
Absolutely. We should not take out the fact that the National Assembly has the power to actually increase budget, add to any of the figure, or actually remove from it. It's within the power of the National Assembly in a democratic setting. In fact, in Nigeria, what differentiates democracy from the military rule that we are used to is actually the National Assembly, is the legislature. So that underscores the power that they carry. But once you use this power to insert or remove without adequately communicating the removal or the addition, then it becomes padding. In other words, if there's a secret insertion, it moves from a legal business of the National Assembly to illegal practice of same. So what makes padding is not the fact that the National Assembly adds anything to it, is the fact that when the National Assembly secretly, without coming out to say that this is the addition we have made, secretly insert anything, then it becomes a padding. And usually in Nigeria, I do tell people that one of the reasons why padding happens is because of the fact that if the National Assembly or the State House of Assembly does not include anything that can benefit them into the budget, they may run at loss. And this means that the money they use to campaign is usually too bogus in Nigeria. Our election process is too expensive. So if anybody wins election into the House of Reps or into the Senate and it doesn't have any other means to recoup this money, it may actually come back home with a loss. So I think this is why budget padding is so popular in our culture and our climate today in Nigeria.
But then with the hike in prices of goods and services, bearing in mind that the budget itself is just a projection, it's a mere projection and doesn't really, signifies the actual prices of things. Doesn't that then make an additional request tenable?
Of course, at every point in time, there's a provision for what they call supplementary budget. At every point in time, when you make a budget, it is the finality of your decision does not lie in the budget. It lies in the reality of the economy where you are actually executing the budget. So when you make budgetary provision like this, it's an estimation. Remember that it's not just an estimation of what to buy, it's also an estimation of what to sell. For instance, in our own case, we put our projected price of oil to so amount of money per barrel. It may happen that tomorrow the price of crude may actually increase. It may also happen that the price may actually decrease. So the budget itself is a guide. The finality of the operation does not lie inside of it. And at every point in time when you have these differentials, what you do is to raise what they call supplementary budget. And supplementary budget passes almost through the same process. You send it to the National Assembly, they send it back to you for approval. So there's a provision for this, and this should not cause any alarm. Because if, for example, we give out a road construction for 22 million, we have seen it happen again and again. One very important road in Nigeria, we call it the East-West Road. We have seen a supplementary budget over 3-4 times. They keep reviewing the prices. They keep increasing the amount of money to be spent on the road. So there's this provision. So you should not be thinking of this provision to pad budget or as an excuse to pad budget. No, when we get to that bridge, the people in power always know what to do.
There are concerns as to how we can even, in the first place, raise a 3 trillion naira, looking at the reality of our economy. What are your concerns on this?
There's a concern generally about how to raise money to back up the budget. But again, let me quickly review to you, if you have forgotten, that now there's poverty in the land, but the Nigerian government has become richer. The Nigerian people have become poorer as a result of, number one, subsidy removal. Subsidy removal means that what the government was paying was transferred to the masses. So it means that government has more money in its purse, but people have more poverty to deal with. So as to money now, money is not the Nigerian problem, and that's why you see all the state government now, they are lounging and smiling to the bank, because in the last few months that subsidy has been taken off, they have seen more money than they've ever seen in the history of Nigeria. So there's much more money now for the Nigerian government. The issue of poverty is only resident with the people.
Just to quickly chip in there, Mr. John, the presidency has said that removal of the fuel subsidy, is a need to help not to further deplete the economy of Nigeria.
The people will only see and agree to that fact when they begin to benefit from the removal. As we speak now, and I want to believe the president that, when a change occurs, the effect of change usually is always negative. I want to believe that within the next few months, that this pain will actually subside. I want to believe. But until then, I cannot leave the studio now and go on the street of Lagos and tell anybody as we speak now that, they should be patient. Why? because you ask your people to be patient, you ask your people to tighten their belt, but the people in authority are still living in wealth and opulence. So these are some of this. There are little disconnect here and there with what the president is saying and the reality of what the people are feeling in the marketplace. So I want to believe that it's working, and I really want to believe that in the next few months that there will be a great change. I believe removal of subsidy is necessary. I may not agree with the manner that the president actually removed it, but it's something that we must continue to talk about, because we cannot continue to pass our national prosperity into the pocket of a few people. But when you say that when you remove budget, that the people will know more prosperity, if poverty still persists on the street, the people may not appreciate anything that you have done for them.
Well, thank you so much for your expertise on the news, Dotun Ojon, a public affairs analyst. Thank you once again.
It's a pleasure to speak with you.
And moving on to another story, President Bola Tinubu is set to launch a student loan scheme on Thursday, March 14th, 2024. And this is according to the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, who revealed this during an interview earlier on Sunday. Ngelale emphasized the significance of the National Student Loan Program, describing it as a crucial step towards alleviating financial burdens for Nigerian families and young people during challenging times. The student loan scheme stems from the Access to Higher Education Act 2023, signed by President Tinubu on June 12, 2023, with the aim of providing interest-free loans to indigent students pursuing higher education in Nigerian tertiary institutions. The act also established a Nigerian Education Loan Fund to manage loan requests, grants, disbursement, and recovery. Thank you for staying tuned. And now to security update. The Nigerian government has issued a stark warning, revealing that schools in 14 states and the Federal Capital Territory are under imminent threat of attacks by bandits and insurgents. The National Coordinator of Financing Safe Schools in Nigeria, Halima Iliya, who made this known, said data on at-risk schools had been compiled for intervention. Although Iliya did not disclose the state, Commander Hamed Abodori of the National Safe Schools Response Coordination Center said they include Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Benue, Yobe, and Katsina State. Amidst this warning, the nation remains in shock as a scourge of mass abductions persists. Over 465 pupils, teachers, and women abducted in the past week remain in the custody of their captors. In the meantime, a joint task force comprising personnel from various security agencies has dealt a heavy blow to the activities of the indigenous people of Biafra from the front lines of security operations in Imo State. In a statement issued earlier on Sunday, Director of Defense Media Operation Major General Edward Buba revealed that the recent operation faced significant challenge as the fighters had cleverly concealed their hideouts amidst defense foliage, rendering them nearly invincible to aerial surveillance. General Buba highlighted the meticulous planning of the insurgent who had dug ditches and planted improvised explosive devices to impede the progress of the security forces. He noted that despite these obstacles, the Joint Task Force pressed on with determination, neutralizing 20 IPOB fighters and recovered a substantial quantity of weapons and ammunition from their possession. Nigeria faces a worsening blackout situation as hoodlums have once again vandalized critical infrastructure, exacerbating the country's power crisis. The Transmission Company of Nigeria reported on Sunday that the Shiroro-Katampe 330 kV transmission line had been vandalized, marking the fifth such incident between February and March of this year. According to CCN spokesperson Ndidimba, the vandalism occurred at approximately 9 a.m., leading to a trip in the transmission line. He noted that efforts are underway to mobilize for conductor replacement pending completion of security operations at the site. But however, assured that despite these setbacks, the second line remains operational, transmitting at full capacity to Abuja. Sultan of Sokoto, Sahad Abubakar, has officially declared Monday, March 11th, 2024 as the first day of the month of Ramadan. The Sultan, spiritual leader of the Muslims in Nigeria, announced the commencement of Ramadan following the sighting of the moon across the country on Sunday, the 29th day of the month of Shaban. Encouraging Muslims nationwide to observe the fast in accordance with Islamic teachings, the Sultan urged them to use these sacred months to pray fervently against the ongoing insecurity plaguing the nation. He also called on all Muslims to pray for the country's leaders, imploring them to discharge their duties with the fear of God. The Sultan emphasized the importance of assisting the underprivileged during this period. And to talk about this, the significance of the Islamic holy month, is a Muslim cleric, and he's an imam, Sheikh Abdul Rahman Adangba. Good morning, glad to have you join me.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
Now, what is the significance of moon sighting to Ramadan?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a very good question. Moon sighting to Ramadan is what has been ordained by the Creator of the world. And Allah told us through Muhammad that you should start or commence the Ramadan by sighting the moon. So it means that the Ramadan does not come in line with the Gregorian calendar. It comes with the lunar calendar. The lunar calendar has everything to do with the moon's movement around the earth. So we are going to commence or end Ramadan by sighting the moon.
So beyond abstaining from food and drink, which happens during Ramadan, how does Ramadan cultivate self-discipline and also God consciousness?
You see, Ramadan is a month of learning. It's an adversary of seeking for intelligence, wisdom, and coordination. So the regulation for Ramadan in the beginning to the end has 4 reasons. 1, so that you might attain the level of piety, which is like feeling for others what you need to feel for them or what you want to feel for yourself. And the second one is for you to seek a very, very, very good knowledge of what Allah designs the world to be and how you are going to live in it and how you are going to enjoy the privileges of being alive while others have died. And the third one is for you to have guidance on how to maintain your living in the world. Living is an aspect of Sharia, which is not about criminality alone. It's about the way you live. And that is why Ramadan is here to train you with the regulations and rules of Allah in the Quran and the way the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ practiced it.
I want to talk a bit about mental health, which a lot of people are grappling with in the light of the reality of Nigeria at this point in time. Do you think Ramadan practices like increased prayer and also reflection contributes to better mental health?
Yeah. You see, when you are loved, when you love somebody and you are loved, you have a balanced mental health. And when you share with people what you have in every aspect of life, in every space of existence, you enjoy living itself, because it is always said that shared worry is half worry or no worry at all. In Ramadan, it's a month of sharing where everybody will feel a sense of belonging, and as such, people will be calm because there is social justice.
I know you talked about the need to share in the month of Ramadan, but I'm wondering, how does this season of Ramadan strengthen social bonds, and also what is the significance of sharing or acts of charity?
You see, in Ramadan, you are forbidden to say things that are not allowed or prohibited, like you fighting or you abusing or you saying illicit talks, like things that will cause a disharmony between you and others. So when you are in Ramadan and you seek to abstain from all these things, you become a giver. And charity is not about giving alone. Charity is about making others happy, which starts with a smile. So in Ramadan, it's all about smiling, it's all about giving, it's all about sharing, it's all about feeling for others, and it's about human welfare. So if you practice it very well in the month of Ramadan, you see that social justice will be imbibed by everybody, and if you continue after Ramadan, it will be a part of way where we live with ourselves and cohabit in harmony, cohabit in patience, cohabit in everything that we think of, which will make the world a better place to live.
I mean, a lot of people can make do with lots of smiles at this point in time, but let's perhaps talk about, are there any health benefits associated with the change in eating habits during Ramadan, considering, it often involves a period of fasting followed by feasting?
Yeah, you see, even the medical doctors have told you that the best medicine in the world is abstinence. So, and in Ramadan is going to teach you about abstinence. It takes and regulates your own metabolism, where you'll be able to feel good and feel okay. Many of these diseases comes from the food and the meal we eat. And if in Ramadan, a lot of these meals are regulated, then you find out that your body will be able to lift itself, and the health in your body will be one that you will enjoy yourself and others too will enjoy you. That's about that. And the second thing is, when you give to others who are unable to feed their metabolism according to the way it should be done, then you make them also be on the good edge of existing very well, existing healthy in mental, in body, and their physique will be something to look after by you and by themselves. So when you abstain, which is the basis of fasting, the anniversary of abstinence, where you abstain from all vices that will make the world a bad place to live, then you become somebody who is giving in charity, who is giving in education, who is giving in wisdom, and who is giving in every aspect of life, as I've already said.
Well, on a smiling note, Sheikh Abdurrahman Adangba, thank you so much for your insight on the news. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
And moving on, women in Nigeria's federal capital have taken to the streets of the capital to protest against the increasing cases of child molestation. They are calling on parents and government to do more in protecting their children from pedophiles as cases of child molestation continue to be recorded in the country. Amadine Uyi reports.
Happiness Ani is the founder of a group of women and children advocacy group, also known as Abuja Moms. For Happiness, her past experience has led her to champion a cause against child molestation. Once she recounts some of the details from her past.
I was molested myself at age 10 by my auntie's husband, and I'd never started healing until 2019 when I spoke about it for the first time. My auntie didn't do anything, and then when I went home and told my mom, they asked my mom not to seek justice for me so that people do not call me someone who is not a virgin at age 10.
For Happiness and many other women in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, their annual work against child molestation is personal, as this year's work marks the 6th in their bid to raise awareness against the crime.
Today's work is against child molestation. The platform Abuja Moms, we do this annually to create awareness and to make parents know that it's okay to seek justice for their children who've been molested.
Many of the women say child molestation, which has become more rampant in Nigeria, is now becoming a source of worry in the country.
It's a very, very big problem that we have in Nigeria, where children are molested, both the male and the female child.
It's a very deep menace that has eaten up our society, families, communities. It's very deep. And the worst part is that no matter how much we try to talk about it, this thing still happens in a lot of homes, especially by guardians.
They are calling on parents and governments to do more in protecting children from the hands of pedophiles.
Every child deserves protection, and if any victim who comes to any platform, whether government or to an individual, you should be able to listen to that child.
My message to all Nigerians today, women, men, children out there, see something, say no to child molestation, say no to abuse, shatter the silence, speak out if you have to.
We are asking that when people see such things or hear such things, they should report.
These women are hoping that those in authority will step up and bring justice to the victims of child molestation. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
And now to politics. The National Civil Society Council of Nigeria has called on government to reappoint a minister for the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation so that the ministry can resume the coordination of humanitarian interventions to citizens. The council, which raised an alarm over the hardship being faced by citizens, says that if government has no intention to reappoint the suspended minister, it should focus on appointing a young, vibrant, and energetic person capable of coordinating the delivery of aid to Nigerians.
The Civil Society Council sees the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation as most critical and highly relevant to our national development, especially at this time of nationwide distress and hardship that demands sustained government intervention programs. Hence, our passionate appeal for the strengthening and reinvigorations of the ministry and need for a young and capable minister with performance record, as was observed in Dr. Betta Edu before the unfortunate development.
Nigeria's National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies has called for more support for the nation's local government administration, saying they have the capacity to directly impact on the lives of citizens at the grassroots. This was made known by the Director General of the Institute during a capacity building training organized for councillors, clerks, and senior staff of local government councils from Kaduna State to boost their performance.
Building training aimed at helping to improve the competence of local government officials in Kaduna State. The training aims to build their capacity and equip them with relevant skills needed to discharge their responsibilities and to deliver the dividends of democracy to citizens at the grassroots.
This capacity building training is important because it is tailored to meet specific needs of the local government administration, particularly those skills and knowledge that will enable you to support the work of an autonomous local government in Kaduna State. The executive could decide to embark on certain constraints, deny local governments their revenue, but such denial will not last forever. We believe in the local government.
Participants present were tasked to put the skills and knowledge acquired into effective use to improve the functions of Nigeria's third tier of government.
I believe you have experienced the expertise and professionalism of our resource person during the course of the training workshop. As you return back to your various places of assignment, I want to implore you to put into effective use the knowledge, skills, and experience.
What we discussed today and yesterday for this special training has indicated clearly that Nigeria is growing democratically, despite the challenges we are facing as a nation. But with the caliber of people that are gathered here, I'm confident most of these problems will sooner be addressed.
While the local government remains the closest tie of government capable of directly impacting on the lives of citizens at the grassroots, Nigeria's National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies says there is a need for continuous training for officials to enhance their effective performance. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idonk Joseph.
And coming up, Burundi's main opposition party divided as faction expels leaders. We have details shortly. Stay with us. Tensions rose within Burundi's main opposition party on Sunday as a faction announced the expulsion of its leader, Agathon Rwasa, citing his failure to unite the party's two factions. At a General Assembly held in the northern part of the country, party sources and witnesses confirmed Rwasa's removal as the head of the suspended National Freedom Council. The 60-year-old former militia leader was replaced by Nestor, a senior executive at a state-owned company. Meanwhile, the party Secretary General, Simon Bizimungu, has condemned Rwasi's ousting, asserting that it violated the party's constitution. Bizimungu accused Interior Minister Martin Tereste of obstructing Rwasi's attempts to hold his own General Assembly on March 2nd, alleging that Tereste authorized a small group of 10 dissents to seize control of the party. And now moving on to another story. Chad's junta-appointed Prime Minister on Sunday said he would contest the May 6 presidential election 8 days after incumbent Mahamat Idris Debny Ito announced his candidacy. Former opposition leader Success Masra returned from exile and joined Debny Ito's team to become Prime Minister this year. The opposition says his candidacy is a ploy to give an appearance of pluralism and a vote the junta chief is setting to win.
Je réponds présent comme candidat à l'élection présidentielle du 6 mai 2024 pour réparer les cœurs, réunir les talents, réconcilier le peuple autour de l'essentiel afin de libérer les énergies de transformation du Tchad, aller partout et faire de chaque Tchadien et Tchadienne un membre de la coalition unique qui est majoritaire, la coalition justice et égalité, et nous allons ensemble gagner dignement cette bataille et transformer ce pays comme jamais aucun pays n'a été transformé.
Still ahead, Israelis protest against Prime Minister in Tel Aviv. We have details shortly. Please join us again. At least 16 people were arrested in Tel Aviv over the weekend as police clashed with demonstrators who were demanding the departure of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after 5 months of war in Gaza. The protesters called for the return of hostages and a progress in talks on hostage deal with Hamas. About 100 hostages remain in Gaza, with 31 presumed dead. The protesters also called for an immediate ceasefire, a position that Netanyahu's government has so far rejected, arguing it would amount to a victory for Hamas.
About time, after more than 30,000 people got killed. And
there's a lot of anti-Netanyahu sentiment right now. Benjamin Netanyahu, who according to every opinion poll taken for a very long time actually, has been trailing very significantly against his main political opponent, Benny Gantz. If an election was held today, there's absolutely no doubt that the opposition, what we call the kind of center-left bloc, would form government. Netanyahu, I think that on one hand, Israeli society has kind of moved rightward after October 7th. They feel that there's a need for a strong military, but on the other hand, they don't want the country right now to be led by Netanyahu. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but it is the sentiment that opinion polls suggest is very, very dominant in Israel at this time.
So hopefully they will exchange the prisoners and have peace. But it's really about time, after more than 30,000 people got killed and almost 80,000 got wounded. So hopefully the war will stop, because the whole world it's silent. I don't know why, because I mean, everywhere else it's usually they do something about it, but about us or Palestinian or Gaza Strip especially, nobody cares except you guys, South Africa. Or
Leader of the centre-right Democratic Alliance Party in Portugal, Luís Montenegro, declared early on Monday that his party had defeated the ruling socialists in the early general election held on Sunday. Portugal's main centre-right party narrowly defeated the incumbent socialists in an early general election, but fell well short of a majority, and a near-complete official result showed early on Monday. In the Sunday poll, Democratic Alliance received 29.49% of the vote, while the Socialists, who have ruled Portugal since 2015, received 28.66%. There are now just 4 seats remaining to be assigned in the 230 seats in Parliament.
Sempre disse, com implicações em termos de compromisso com as portuguesas e os portugueses, que vencer as eleições era ter mais um voto que qualquer outra candidatura e que só nessa circunstância assumiria as funções de primeiro-ministro. Pois bem, sabemos que vai exigir grande sentido de responsabilidade a todos. Sabemos que vai exigir da nossa parte e da minha, em especial, grande capacidade de diálogo e tolerância democrática. Mas, em respeito pela vontade livre do povo português, nós temos de dar ao país novas políticas e cumprir o programa, a base do programa que foi hoje sufragado.
Heavy rains in Bolivia's capital, La Paz, have prompted authorities to declare a state of emergency after overflowing rivers destroyed many houses over the weekend. Bolivia's President, Luis Acra, pledged to send heavy machinery and 3,000 troops to prevent further damage. Heavy rains caused flooding in several neighborhoods and isolated parts of the city by cutting water, electricity and roads. 1 person died over the weekend in La Paz, while nearly 50 people have died in villages across the country since the rainy season began in January.
Cuando vemos que no podemos dar abasto con el desastre que son las lluvias terribles que verán, los vecinos aquí se han organizado y los vecinos están construyendo gaviones para proteger sus casas y sus espacios.
Maquinarias, se nos está yendo el asfalto. Cada noche no dormimos pensando en que nuestras casas se van a ir y no tan solo nuestras.
La vegetación se ha llevado todos nuestros árboles y se han tardado 20 años en que los podamos poner.
And now to sports stories. Referee Abdullahi stole the spotlight in Enyimba's hard-fought 1-0 victory over Doma United. Chijioke Mbaoma secured the decisive goal in the 89th minute amidst VAR drama. Enyimba dominated the match against struggling Doma United, who aimed for a draw with a defensive approach. Despite protests from Doma officials and players, Abdullahi initially disallowed Mbaoma's goal due to an offside flag from the assistant referee. Following pressure, Abdullahi revealed the footage provided by the NTA news crew and reinstated the goal. Doma United refused to continue after the decision, leading to the referee ending the game with Enyimba securing the win. Team Nigeria recorded a clean sweep of 6 gold medals in different categories of female wrestling events in the ongoing 13th African Games in Ghana. Mercy Genesis secured Nigeria's first gold in the 50 kg category by defeating Mohammed Nada of Egypt 7-0. Debutant Christiana Ogunsonya dominated the 53 kg event, claiming Nigeria's second gold by beating Ongonoga Bayakoyo of Cote d'Ivoire 11-0. Odunayo Adekuroye won gold in the 57 kg category by pinning Zeynep Housen of Morocco. Veteran Blessing Oborodudu added another gold in the 68 kg category by defeating Blandon Nyerengiri of Cameroon 14-4. Hannah Ruben triumphed in the 76 kg category against Ami Yon of Ivory Coast, while Kolawole Omolayo dominated the 62 kg event, showcasing Nigeria's wrestling prowess.
Coming to the South African Games to be able to maintain my position. My plan is that I'm not going to be away.
And let's take a short break. Stay with us.